Hello everybody, it's Tori here, recording another video on the Sands of War. This video is on battle number 2 of our siege scenario. The besieged army is Vampire Counts, played by my buddy Chris, and I am playing Tomb Kings as the attacker. So here we have the first page of the scenario rules, nothing too crazy, just a little background information. The next page has the deployment zones, which is pretty much 6 inches. It has to be at least 24 inches away from the fortress, but also has to be within 30 inches. The besieger also has to place an objective, a group of siege machines or siege equipment, and or like a pile of weapons that the besieged force is trying to sally out and destroy to kind of cripple their attack. Also, to represent the surprise attack at the beginning of the game before anyone moves, the besieged player rolls a d6 for each enemy unit, and then on a 1, that unit counts as being surprised and cannot take any actions the entire first turn, which is a pretty big thing. You'll see here in a minute. Also, in order for them to win, the besieged player has to come in base contact with the objective, and then each close combat phase, he can roll a d6 for every different unit in contact with it. And on a 4+, that counts as them successfully destroying the objective. If by the end of turn 5 that has not happened, then the besieger wins because they assume that more units have come up to help defend off the sally out. Alright, so here's the battle roster for the scenario. Each side gets 1,000 points. Each side can take any character with any magic items that they can afford, and then they can also take one other character. Please note that wizards are finally allowed in this scenario, which means that both sides have to take one since they're undead. Other than that, it's pretty simple. Now here are the army lists for the scenario. The Vampire Counts took Manfred von Karstein as their general, and he took 2 units of direwolves with 5 each, and 1 skeleton group of 28 with full command, a group of 10 hex race, and a group of 5 race. So again, a lot of ethereal units in this one. And then as Tomb Kings, I took a Tomb King with the Ruby Ring of Ruin, Enchanted Shield, Sword of Battle, and Dragonbane Gems to get a lot of magical stuff off. And I have a level 2 Lich Priest as my hero font with the Talisman of Preservation. Then I have 48 Skeleton Warriors with light armor and a standard, 20 Tomb Guard with the Champion standard, and a Casket of Souls. So this is the battlefield. Up on the top of the map you have the fortress, and on the far left that is a wizard's tower, and then that siege tower is the objective, and then there's 2 forts, and that's all the terrain that we generated. So since the besieger deploys first, I put my Tomb Guard in the far left there with my Lich Priest within 3 inches of the wizard's tower, so he has the Lord Master of the Hekara, and then my Casket of Souls and my group of skeletons with my Tomb King in the far upper right corner. Alright, and the besieged player has his 2 groups of direwolves right there up front, and then he has his hex race off to the right, and his regular race off to the left there, and then he has his group of skeletons with his Manfred von Karstein right behind them. The scenario starts with the gates open, and that's just a little picture looking inside there. So this was an accidental move. He marched out of the gates, and after re-looking at the rules, it says you can only move out, so we had to pull that back. So this is what the end of Chris's movement phase actually looked like. He was able to get Dance Macabre off, which allowed him to move a little further, which kind of explains why he's so far out of his gate. The way that the siege rules work is it pretty much counts the gate is not even there, so when you're moving, as long as you have enough movement to get a full rank past the gate, you can put that full rank in front, but you can also have split ranks of the same unit, kind of like in front and behind the gate. It just depends on how much movement they can get through it. So on my movement turn, I didn't really move anything. I just went straight into magic. And this picture you see here is what is left after my magic phase. I was able to get overwhelming force on my Casket of Souls, and I targeted the upper group of direwolves first, and for his leadership He rolled a 12, which instantly killed that whole group. I was able to roll high enough for it to bounce, and I targeted the Hexwraith next. And then he rolled a 14 on leadership, which killed 7 of his Hexwraiths. So just in one shot, I killed 250 points with that, which is honestly the best Casket Souls shot I've ever done before. And also, I had the Ruby Ring of Ruin only do 1 wound to the other pack of direwolves. Chris's next turn, he just kind of moved his units around. He used the direwolves as pretty much a redirector, and he moved his Hexwraiths closer to the objective and or Casket of Souls, and also his regular race, and he just kind of moved his skeletons up a little bit. No crazy spells or anything went off for him. So on my turn 2, I charged my Skeleton Warriors into the Direwolves because I might as well, since they're blocking me either way from charging anywhere else. Now in the magic phase, what you're looking at here is the result of a miscast for me overwhelmingly casting the Skullstorm spell of the Neokara. It landed right in front of the objective there, you'll see in the next picture. And then I ended up killing 4 of my Tomb Guard with that miscast, unfortunately. I was kind of not thinking because I really wanted to keep that Lich Priest within this range of the Wizard's Tower. As you can see later on, I really should have just taken him out that turn or not even deployed him in that unit to begin with at the beginning of the game because it kind of hurt me later on. So here you can see I've already killed the dire wolves, and you can see the Skullstorm up in the top left where the template is, and that's where it's sitting. And then after that I reformed to face the Hexwraiths to be able to either charge them where they're at or at the objective, or if they attack my Casket of Souls. Alright, so here you have Chris's turn. He charged his Hexwraiths into my Casket of Souls. He charged his regular race into my skeleton unit. And then he moved up his own skeletal unit a little bit. He was able to get Dance Macabre off, which allowed him to move a little bit further. And he also got Hellish Vigor off, which means all of his guys are rerolling rolls to hit and to wound. And at the end of the phase, the Vortex unfortunately went right through my entire Tomb Guard unit. It literally hit everything in the unit but my Lich Priest. And I ended up losing 5 guys. I mean, not a huge deal, but it's still really crappy that it happened. And it went through the building and dissipated on the other side. So in the combat phase on his turn, he went with the Casket of Soul combat first, which he easily destroyed it, and it exploded. It did 4 wounds on my Tomb Guard unit, it's just my Tomb Guard unit is just getting destroyed over there. It wiped out his entire unit of Hexwraiths. And then it also did 3 wounds on my skeletons, but it did not do anything else. And then you can see in the close combat phase on the skeleton warriors, I was able to kill 1 wraith, but they ended up killing about 17 guys of mine. So on my turn, I decided to move my Lich Priest out of the Tomb Guard unit. A little bit too late, whatever. And then I tried to cast the movement hex on his skeletal warriors because they can march into contact with the objective, and on 3 dice I still wasn't able to hit an 11. On Chris's turn, he moved into contact with the objective, and in his magic phase he didn't get any other spells off except for the one to summon zombies, and he summoned them right there, as you can see. On the close combat phase, he just decided to roll on the chart first because it doesn't specify whether it has to be at the beginning or the end of the phase. His skeleton unit rolled a 1 on the scenario chart. However, his zombies rolled a 6 on it, which means the scenario was over because the zombies successfully destroyed the tower. And here we just have our normal mop-up that we play after each scenario. I ended up charging my skeleton warriors into the rear of his unit. As you can see on the next pair of pictures, I was able to destroy almost everything but 3 skeletons in the unit plus Monfred. And then his next turn, he decided to obviously charge the zombies, and at that point I was able to kill everything else off and the game was over. So since Chris won the scenario, I am only able to spend 10% instead of 25% of the points on the final scenario on siege equipment, which is rams, towers, hooks, ladders, etc., etc. Right now, I'm not seeing it as a huge deal, but it might be a huge deal later on. We'll have to see, because I've never played the siege campaign before. And the next scenario is mine to pick, and I decided to choose the undermine scenario, which will be next week, so stay tuned. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure you also check out King G's page on YouTube. He's got a lot of videos as well. He's got a lot of stuff with 9th Age. I know a lot of people are getting into that. So you should go check it out, and he'll be able to show you some cool stuff that he's been doing. Just want to thank you guys for watching. This does take a little bit of time, and I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.